Hi there. I'm Erin Brown. I am the Wholeness Wisdom Somatic Integration Coach, and I'm here for another episode of the Wholeness Wisdom Podcast. I've been reading and researching and feeling into the intersection of isolation, self-centeredness, and the exhaustion that comes as a result of living under generational patriarchal trauma. I recently wrote an article about this. You can read the full post in the description below, but I just want to quickly summarize that what I've found to be the antidote for this experience which is it's summed up in one word, and that is vulnerability. While this is something that we know the word for, I don't know if we actually know the meaning of, and that being the experience of vulnerability rather than the idea of vulnerability. And the reason is that vulnerability applies to all people, but vulnerability isn't always experienced as a good thing. Sometimes we hear that word and we think of vulnerable populations of people that are suffering or people that are immobile from the position that they're in, or people that are weak even. The truth is that all people have the same capacity to act in generosity of spirit, which is true vulnerability. It's being generous with our attention and the generosity that comes in listening to another person's experience or simply seeing them. That is vulnerability. People have this capacity that we share of being vulnerable with one another. It is a universal human experience. And this means being honest and open and curious and loving and willing to learn and willing to be wrong and willing to speak and to connect. We all have that same capacity within us. And bringing that to a real experiential level means being with our neighbors, the people who live in our communities, in a way that allows community to build itself. That's right. I don't think that we need to build community. Simple, single acts of vulnerability with people who live near us allows community to build itself. A lot of people in my age group, and maybe older and maybe younger too, feel that they just don't know how to get community. It's a nice word, but how do we get that? Community builds itself through these single acts of vulnerability. And I don't mean going to your next door neighbor's house and telling them your deepest secret. I mean, in the grocery line, putting your phone in your pocket, leaving it in the car, asking the person that you see there all the time, how are you doing today? Or going to these places that we go all the time, the post office, looking the person in the eye, the whole transaction, the whole time. So much of being invulnerable is resisting the urge to not look, resisting the urge to check your email while waiting in line. It is resisting the familiar pattern that says, I don't want to talk, and doing the opposite, specifically in proximity with another human being and to see them. I have an example from my life is that I keep getting invitations in my email to donate my blood. And last time I did that, I got really hurt. They tried for over an hour to find a vein and they couldn't. They sent me home, and they really tried, but eventually they gave up. So I keep getting these emails to donate my blood. What can we do that is as vital as our blood to help others, but requires less activity, vulnerable in a way that is natural? When I did donate blood last year and it worked, they told me you can find out where that blood goes if you go online. And I found out that my blood was going to a hospital somewhere in Minnesota. And I was like, oh, that's nice, but I really don't know anything about Minnesota. And I've never been there. I don't know anybody there. And the idea that my blood was going to help someone in Minnesota was a nice thought. Well, I have this huge advantage of living near other people, and I've seen my neighbors' faces and I know their names. I don't know that much more about them, but it's easier for me to learn about them and have a conversation with them than anybody in Minnesota. And while my blood was going to somebody in need, of course, I can actually build something much, much simpler and greater through acts of generosity of spirit. Each time this happens, verbally, through our actions sometimes too, telling people that live near us, I'm with you. And the nature of wholeness and coming to wholeness and remembering our shared being is remembering this first for ourselves. I'm with you. I'm with myself, and I'm with you as myself. Because we really share much more than just brotherly or sisterly love as humans. Really, beyond just the state of being one human family, we actually share something even deeper than fraternal love, family love. We share this without even doing any single thing, without saying a single word, and that is our eternal essence of being itself. And each one of us can confirm this right now in this moment to themselves. Every single person can say these two words and check these two words. I am. And this is both a question and a confirmation for yourself. Find out if that's true. I am. And that is what everybody and everyone shares. It is completely unanimous, I am. No thing and nobody can dispute that. In itself, for itself, I am. Even if, animals, beings that do not have a voice, do not say that verbally, I am. It is in the being of itself, I am, is true. And this is the way that I would like to bring this truth to each of our experience in a living sense of generosity, saying, I'm with you in our neighborhoods. In the article that I wrote this week on my website, I go more into the ways on a person-to-person basis we can share generosity of spirit and also cultivate that within ourselves, because we cannot offer loving openness to anybody else when there's a war of patriarchal systems of oppression happening within ourselves, which I will say, I did not know this was going on within myself until I started to examine what is patriarchy and what is predatory capitalism and how has that been trained into me and the way that I think and the way that I see the world. When I started to acknowledge that, I could start to acknowledge there was this serious, entrenched oppression happening within myself, a rejection of my own humanity. And I would suggest that we are all experiencing this, all people who live under patriarchal systems of oppression in our economic systems, in our governmental systems, which seeks down to the level of society on a very small scale as well. And when we investigate that, we can integrate that sense of fragmentation within, and that love can pour from within and build community all by itself. If you are interested in more, please subscribe to this channel. I post videos on these topics of integration and wholeness and connecting with the world through our own sense of integration and individuation based on Carl Jung's work of integrating the opposites and the unconscious, and also working with wholeness work and core transformation developed by Connie Ray Andreas. I am the Wholeness Wisdom Coach. If you enjoyed this, please subscribe to this channel, and also please check out my website for course information where I work with groups of people a couple times a year, and also I work with people one-on-one for somatic integrative work with the unconscious. Thanks so much, and I hope this message found you well. Please check out the full blog post about patriarchal oppression and trauma in the description below. Have a great day. Bye.